Attention, all views and opinions expressed in this video and channel are for educational purposes only.
Hey everybody, so we are back, and in case you don't know who I am, I'm Chad Wade of Chad Wade TV, and I've got, some businesses, wholesale, retail. I've got some online businesses, as well as I am an international best-selling author, whether you know it or not. But I would be happy if you would, jump over there and check that out. That'd be great and very helpful, just to tell you the truth. But today I'm going to tell you 3 ways that businesses bleed money. It's a doozy today, boys and girls. Strap on your helmet. Here we go. Smoke shop owners, presentation is everything. If your store looks like a garage sale, your customers aren't going to take you seriously. Displayarama.com has every fixture you need: racks, showcases, slat walls, counters, mannequins, all in stock, ready to ship fast. Upgrade your look, boost your sales, and save some cash. Use my code ChadWade5 to get 5% off your order. Displayarama, real fixtures, real fast, recommended by me, Chad, here at Chad Wade TV. Every business owner thinks they know where their money goes, until one day you look at the account balance and realize the cash bled out quietly, like a slow leak in a tire. No pop or explosion, just a hiss that you ignored. Hey, I've been there, man. I have been. Trust me. Profit looked fine on paper. Looked fine. But every week, it was just something invisible was chewing through my margin. And if you're not paying attention, that small leak becomes a full-blown flood. The first time I really saw it was back when my shop looked busy and broke at the same time. I mean, the sales were ringing, the door was swinging, but it just seemed like the account never grew. I thought, we just need more people, more customers coming in off the street. That was wrong. We honestly needed to stop the hemorrhaging. We were bleeding out. The trick is learning where the holes are before the bank learns it for you, if we're keeping it real. Now, honestly, my first hole was bad hiring. Just a single bad hire can cost you more than a bad month. I brought in this guy who looked just perfect on paper. He was confident, he had a good smile, he was a talker, and within weeks, the payroll hours, overtime, it ballooned. And discounts, it seemed like, were going out like candy. And inventory, I don't know where it went. The shrink doubled, maybe even tripled. And it wasn't really theft. It was kind of laziness wrapped in the authority of an employee. Every decision leaked a few dollars, and nobody noticed it until the payroll started to hit. And that's bad. I remember sitting at my desk looking at the wages, at the payroll report, because Brandon gives me a payroll report every couple of weeks. And it kind of felt like, death by 1,000 swipes of a time clock. And listen, another age-old adage about firing fast, well, that ain't cheap either, because you got to think about training the next person and fixing the mistakes that have already been made, and what about unemployment? Bad hiring doesn't look like a fire. It kind of looks like a drip. One schedule adjustment here, one comped product there. Bleed, 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 bleed. Just gets bigger and bigger. So the fix was brutal, but simple. Slow the hell down. I stopped hiring from panic. I started interviewing twice, checking references, letting someone else in the team meet the candidate. If my gut fell off even a little, I passed. And since then, hiring's still kind of stressful, but at least I'm not bleeding payroll into the carpet, or all over the floor, concrete floors, in some of them. So the second hole was the lease. My first location felt like a win. It was a big place. It was monstrous, man, with big windows. We had great foot traffic because we were kind of the only game in town. But you really need to read closely in some of the extras, like the maintenance and the property tax and the utilities, if you have to share them, especially. By the third month, rent wasn't rent anymore. It was kind of a ransom payment. And landlords know small operations, chase shiny spaces. They kind of hide the knife in the fine print if we're keeping it real. I'll never forget the month I paid rent, plus a snow removal assessment, plus a signage compliance fee, and it adds up. It was half my profit gone to a sidewalk and a damn light bulb. And I talked to the landlord, and I was kind of pissed off. But the contract was kind of clear. I'd already signed my permission to slip into the bleeding. Leases kill quietly because they're long term. Every month feels normal until you realize the math never favors you. Never. And I could give you instance after instance of every single store of that being the problem. So these days, before signing anything, I budget like it's worst case. If rent looks fair, I double it in my spreadsheet for hidden fees. If it still works, I sign. If not, no matter how good the spot is, I walk. Because I keep it real. I understand my numbers. Most business owners are scared to walk away from the perfect spot. I'd rather run my business from a cinder block box than from a marbled floor coffin. That's a fact. The third hole was bookkeeping, or more accurately, my arrogance about bookkeeping. I honestly thought I knew my numbers in my head. No, I knew my sales. I didn't know my cash flow, my margins, or my actual costs. When I finally hired a real bookkeeper / accountant, they found 12 months of quiet chaos where I had double billed invoices, unclaimed expenses, tax mistakes big enough to make you sweat. And she told me all about it. Trust me. That was the day I realized spreadsheets don't lie. You just have to look at them. I started reviewing every single statement line by line. Not because I didn't trust the accountant, but because I wanted to understand the rhythm of my own money. Once you know that rhythm, you can feel when it's off, like a mechanic hearing like a rattle in the engine before it finally gives up and dies. Bookkeeping discipline is honestly unglamorous. Nobody opens a shop dreaming about reconciliation reports. Nobody looks at that and thinks about it. But if you skip it, you will never see the slow leaks. I still catch little things like subscription software charging twice, insurance rates creeping up, payment processors adding adjustments. And none of them are huge individually, but all together, they can bleed a week's profit every single month if you don't pay attention. Now I learned to run audits like fire drills. Once a quarter, I go through expenses with a fine-tooth comb. I ask one question about every charge. Do I still need this? And honestly, keeping it real with myself, the answer is always no. Canceling dead weight feels like giving your business a blood transfusion. It can actually pump you back up. Here's the pattern across all 3 leaks, and they happen quietly. There's no alarm, no explosion, just erosion. Bad hires, bad leases, terrible or non-existent bookkeeping, they all depend on you being too busy to notice. The world doesn't have to steal your money all at once. It seduces it away a little at a time. Once you see it, you start running your shop like a fortress. Every hire is vetted. Every contract is dissected. Every number is checked twice. Now, some people will call it paranoia. I call it survival. Stay open. I'd rather be the paranoid owner still in business than the relaxed one telling stories about back when I had a shop. So that's the truth, y'all. Businesses don't usually collapse from one big mistake. They bleed out from a dozen small ones. So if you plug the leaks early, people, leases, numbers, And the same shop that once felt fragile, it suddenly feels bulletproof. Now remember, money bleeds silently. Listen for the hiss. Patch it fast. Stay alive.